Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Anjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtoktada Shatta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtoktada Shatta Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, ISKCON BPT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Janita Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Morning everyone, thanks for joining us. Starting with Srila Prabhupada Leela Mrita, chapter entitled India Dancing White Elephants. Okay, here we go. One evening, in response to an invitation, Prabhupada visited the home of Baladev Indra Singh, a descendant of one of ancient Punjab's ruling families. Although nearing 60, Mr. Singh was still a robust Punjabi Kshatriya, handsome, tall, and sporting a big black moustache. He showed Prabhupada and his disciples through his elegant home, with its large portraits of ancestors, uniformed Kshatriyas with their helmets and swords. In the trophy room, which had many animal skins and stuffed heads mounted on the wall, Mr. Singh brought Prabhupada and his disciples before his prize trophy, a large tiger's head. Prabhupada approached closely. "You have killed this?" he asked. "Yes," Mr. Singh replied, and he described the details of the hunt. "The man-eater had killed many people in a nearby village," Mr. Singh explained, "so I went and shot it." Prabhupada's eyes widened and he turned to his disciples. "Oh, very nice." Later, Prabhupada sat in a chair, and Mr. Singh sat before him on the floor. He said something was troubling him. An astrologer had told him that in a previous lifetime, thousands of years ago, he had fought in the battle of Kurukshetra, but on the side against Krishna. That's not possible, Prabhupada said. Everyone present at the battle of Kurukshetra was liberated. If you had actually been at the battle of Kurukshetra, you would not still be within the material world. Mr. Singh wasn't certain whether to feel relieved or disappointed. But Prabhupada assured him, "That's all right. Don't worry. Now you are a devotee of Krishna." When Prabhupada asked Mr. Singh to become a life member of ISKCON, he agreed immediately. He confessed that when he had first invited Prabhupada and his disciples, he had actually been skeptical. But after being with Srila Prabhupada for a few minutes, he said, all his doubts and suspicions had vanished. He would be happy to become ISKCON's first life member in Amritsar. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 11. Just waiting for my device to start up. It's just gone into sleep mode, so it'll be 2 seconds. There we go. So 5th Canto, Chapter 11, and reading text number 9. So here we go. Ekadashasan manaso hivritya akutaya. Oh, sorry. You go for it. Akutaya pancha diyo bimanaha. Matrani karmani purang chatasang. Vadanti haikadasha virabhumihi. Ekadasha san manaso hivritaya. Akutaya pancha diyo bimanaha. Matrani karmani purang chatasang. Vadanti haikadasha virabhumihi. Ekadasha san manaso hivritaya. Akutaya pancha diyo bimanaha. Matrani karmani purang chatasang. Vadanti haikadasha virabhumihi. Word for word, please repeat. Ekadasha. 11. Asan. There are. Manasa. Of the mind. He. Certainly. Vritaya. Activities. Bhutaya. Senses of action. Pancha. 5. Diya. Senses for gathering knowledge. Abhimana. False ego. Matrani. Different sense objects. Karmani. Different material activities. Varamcha. And the body, society, nation. Family or place of nativity. Tasam. Of those functions. Varanti. They say. Ha. Oh. Ekadasha. 11. Vira. O hero. Bhumi. Fields of activity. A translation. There are 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. There is also the false ego. In this way, there are 11 items for the mind's functions. O hero, the objects of the senses, such as sound and touch, the organic activities, such as evacuation, and the different types of bodies, society, friendship, and personality are considered by learned scholars the fields of activity for the functions of the mind. Purport. The mind is the controller of the 5 knowledge acquiring senses and the 5 working senses. Each sense has its particular field of activity. In all cases, the mind is the controller or owner. By the false ego, one thinks oneself the body and thinks in terms of my body, my house, my family, my society, my nation, and so on. These false identifications are due to the expansions of the false ego. Thus, one thinks that he is this or that. Thus, the living entity becomes entangled in material existence. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurmilitang Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. There are 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. There is also the false ego. In this way, there are 11 items for the mind's functions. O hero, the objects of the senses, such as sound and touch, the organic activities, such as evacuation, and the different types of bodies, society, friendship, and personality are considered by learned scholars the fields of activity for the functions of the mind. So many thoughts come to mind when reading the Bhagavatam. It's an unlimited ocean of nectar. As Sanatana Goswami prays to Srimad Bhagavatam in Srimad Bhagavatam Mahima Stotra, every syllable pours on a flood of prema. It's just flowing with love, even though we're talking about senses and the mind and the things that maybe we don't love. Or some people, maybe they do love their mind. So maybe for them it's showering down an ocean of prema when they hear about the mind. But generally, the Bhagavatam is quite heavy about the mind. It says, that guy, you just found out who is your worst enemy. You thought it was this person, you thought it was that person. You thought it was that group of people, you thought it was that group of people. Or you thought that maybe it was your next door neighbor, or maybe it was that dog, or somebody else. But no, actually, it's just your own mind. Actually, that's the real enemy. Because that mind is what is keeping you bound to material existence, and that's what's making you suffer. As we were hearing Devakinandana Prabhu mention yesterday in class, that he quoted this verse from the Avanti Brahmana from the 11th canto, where the Avanti Brahmana is pointing out so many people that could be the source of our misery, the source of our suffering. Maybe it's my past karma, all my activities that I've done in the past, all the reactions are coming to me, so that's why I'm suffering. But then he says, no, it's actually not that. Actually, maybe it's the devas, the demigods. They're conspiring against me. They're like sending all these tsunamis, these hurricanes. They're making it really cold, so they're making me suffer. Then he reflects further and he realizes, no, actually, it's not the demigods. But actually, maybe it's the graha, maybe it's my astrology, I've just got bad astrology. I was born at a bad time in a bad place, and so therefore I'm screwed. My life sucks. And then he reflects further and he realizes, actually, no, that's not the reason either. And then Kala, maybe it's just because of time, because in due course of time, you get your packet in the mail, it arrives, and you open it up, and whoop, there it is, distress. But no, he reflects further. No, it's not that. It's not all these things. It's not so many things that I think that it maybe possibly could be. My family, relatives, these people, that person. No, actually, it's. Let's see if I can remember the Sanskrit. Param. No, I can't remember the Sanskrit. It's something to do with the mind, basically. Paramam manam. Param karanam manaha. Something like that. Anyway, I forget it. But basically, the mind's the ultimate cause, because if you think about it deeply, all these different things, whether it's a tsunami coming from the devas, whether it's time just delivering you some headache in the mail, or whether it's your astrology and that means that you've got bad vision, bad taste in terms of like hairstyle and stuff like that, so people don't like you because of that, or whatever it is. Actually, if the mind's satisfied, then all these things don't matter. And I'm sure we've all had some experience like that in our life, where we've had a situation where, externally speaking, we shouldn't really be happy, but for some reason we are. And then the flip side, we've had a situation where all reasons and causes for our enjoyment are there, but we're just suffering, we're miserable. So basically that clearly points that the mind's the actually ultimate root cause of happiness and distress. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita 2:14, Matrasparshas tu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha, Krishna says to Arjuna right in the very beginning, there's cold and heat, tolerate that, that's due to the body. But then happiness and distress, sufferings due to the mind, tolerate that too. It's just based on duality. So Krishna is straight away saying, just don't get hung up on that. Because it's always going to be there. From the second you get up in the morning, from the second till you go to the bed at night, you'll have a body that you're wearing, and it will have its issues, and you'll have a mind which will go accept, reject, accept, reject. I like this, I don't like that. I like this, I don't like that. So Krishna's just saying, just those things, just don't get too hung up on them. Deal with them, have the healthy prasadam you need to maintain your body. Go for a walk in the morning, get some exercise, get some fresh air to freshen the mind, to like chill it out a little bit because it's upset about something, whatever. But then after that, get on with your duty. Do what you need to do. And for us, I'm assuming most people here, I can't see everyone's faces and I don't know all the names, but I'm assuming most people here are practicing Krishna consciousness to some extent. So basically, after you've dealt with your body and mind as needed, you've done the required activities to look after them, you've said thank you to someone who cooked breakfast for you that morning to maintain relationships and not upset people like that. So once all those things are dealt with, then get on with your prime duty, which is your Krishna consciousness. And even ideally, you should do that first before you do all these other activities dealing with the body and the mind. Yes, you get up in the morning, you have a shower to freshen the body and freshen the mind, but then immediately, ideally, that's when you should connect with Krishna, when there's no distractions. And then after that, then, later on in the day, you have your breakfast, you go for a run, you go to work, and you do all those things that are required to maintain the body. But we need a balanced program. We can't go too far one way or the other. So this mind, we can talk about it from so many different angles, but I might skip a lot of that because Bhagavatam talks about it a lot. Bhagavad Gita talks about it a reasonable amount. We already know a reasonable amount of the tattva, and we're going to hear more of it as the texts and purports continue. So two main culprits have been identified as our source of distress, which are the mind, which we've already discussed, and also the false ego, identifying with the body. But just skipping along a little bit, I actually wanted to touch more on some practical activities that we can engage in to deal with the issues rather than discussing the issues so much, which, of course, as we know, is devotional service. That's uh, the main substance of dealing with the mind. Ultimately, devotional service will ultimately dissolve the false ego. And when the false ego is dissolved, then we no longer need a material mind. Uh, and we, of course, purify the mind by chanting Hare Krishna. It's the Maha Mantra. Maha means great, as we know, and mantra is comprised of two words, man, which refers to mind, and tra, which means triate, to free. So the Maha Mantra is the great chant for deliverance, freeing us from the mind. So that's our main weapon for dealing with the mind, and that's what we are doing now. It's what we will do tomorrow. We'll do at the time we're leaving the body. It's what we'll do even when we leave this body and go to the spiritual world. We'll continue chanting. That's the main activity, just glorifying Krishna. So that's the main cure. It's the cure, and it's also the main meal, and it's also the dessert, and it's also the dessert after the dessert. It's the sweetest thing ever, as Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Instruction. The holy name is like sugar candy, but because the tongue is afflicted with avidya, the jaundice known as avidya, then it doesn't like to chant the holy name. So that's the main solution. We know that. Um, and that's the goal of our life, to become attached to Krishna. So, but how to best do that? So that is the solution. But we may have a lot of difficulties trying to apply that very, very simple solution. Krishna is so kind. He's given us such a simple, simple solution. And that was one thing that has attracted me so much to this process, is that I thought this is so wonderful that the real solution to all life's problems is so simple. It's just three words, and you just say them out loud: Hare Krishna, Rama. So easy. There's no disqualification for anyone. But somehow or other, even though the solution is so simple, uh, as Lord Chaitanya says in the second verse of the Shikshashtakam, anuragaha, like I don't, I somehow or other I don't have taste for chanting this holy name. I I've got this wonderful gift. Krishna's invested all his potencies in these holy names. I've got like the ultimate weapon, but I'm so unfortunate that I don't have any taste or attachment, and I commit offenses while chanting the holy names, so I don't get the result. But then, very kindly, Lord Chaitanya explains to us in the very next verse the solution. Trinadapi sunichena tarodapi sahishnuna amanina manidena kirtanaya sadaharihi. So you could say it's real simple. You only need two things. You need the Hare Krishna mantra, those three words. That's easy to do. And then that one verse, Trinadapi Sunichena. Just meditate and meditate and meditate and meditate and meditate on that verse, and try to apply it and try to apply it and try to apply it and try to apply it. And then we'll be able to chant Hare Krishna properly. So that's another simple way of looking at it. I guess because I'm so dull-headed, I can't even get that verse, even though it's quite straightforward. So you've got to break down that verse into its component parts. There's trying to be humble, and then there's the part about being tolerant, and then there's the part about offering respect to others, and then there's the part about not desiring respect for oneself. And after I do all that, then I might be able to always chant the holy name. So there's four parts to that verse, it seems. That's too much for me. I can only do one thing at a time. So as I was preparing for this class, first I started with the mind, and then I went to the ego, becoming Krishna's servant. That's dealing with the false ego, because our real ego is that we're Krishna's servant. And then uh, this point about when we hear and chant together, especially the Bhagavatam, this is a verse from the fourth canto, chapter 30, text 35, and it goes like this. Wherever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material hankerings, at least for the time being. Not only that, but they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear. So this is one solution as to how to apply Trinadapi Sinichena, is just the 10 Bhagavatam class, and it's really helping you do that. So that's one thing. But actually, as I kept writing down stuff and stuff kept coming out of my pen, it came to the point of ultimately we suffer because we're thinking of ourselves, because kleshada, the material body, is a source of misery, and if we meditate on a source of misery, then we'll be miserable. So the idea is that we don't meditate on our material body, meditate on Krishna, because his body is Satchidananda, full of bliss, and not just full of bliss, but ever increasing bliss. And it's unlimited, unlimitedly ever increasing. So if you meditate on that, then you'll feel happy. And because Krishna is so kind and he's non-different from his holy name, by meditating on the holy name, we're meditating on Krishna's all blissful body. So that's better than meditating on our body. So again, it's a no-brainer. It's a simple solution, but the mind's pretty tricky. And he's like, no, think about your body. Your body's important. We need to think about your body right now. That's what will give you happiness. And so then you think, yes, mind, you're right. If I meditate on my body, I will be happy. And then you start doing that, and then you start becoming miserable, and you're like, hey, what's going on here? Damn it, mind, you tricked me again. So the trick to beating the mind is to not listen to it. That's one thing that's suggested in the 11th canto. The most powerful weapon for defeating the mind is neglect. You just don't listen to it. But we do. And that's the challenge. So that's why we chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so we can catch out the mind constantly. He's constantly grabbing us and saying, think about this, think about that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. This, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. We're trying to focus it on Krishna, building that muscle. But anyway, just to conclude, basically, as I kept preparing for class, I got to the point of giving. That is the ultimate way that we can practically deal with the mind, because the mind wants to be selfish. So the complete opposite of selfishness is selflessness. So the mind wants to get, me, I. So if we flip that and we think about other people and try to assist them in their life, their problems, their service, etc., we try to give, then that's a really powerful way of dealing with the mind, in addition to chanting Hare Krishna. And that basically is what devotional service is. Devotional service is all about giving. So the two powerful weapons for dealing with the mind are chant Hare Krishna and give, do devotional service. Because when we chant Hare Krishna, we're asking for service. So when we get that service, we should be very enthusiastic and try to really apply ourselves. And the best way to do service is in a mood of giving. So I got a whole list of things that I was thinking about, but just as I was mentioning near the beginning of the class, one of the simplest ways we can give is just give appreciation. It's so simple, it's so quick, it's so easy, and it doesn't cost anything. And it can dramatically change the world. And this is connected actually to, appreciation and gratitude, you could say, go hand in hand. And I've been hearing from so many different people, so many different sources, so many different devotees, and also so many different non-devotees. And they all seem to agree on the same point: gratitude. It's like the mother of emotions. If you can learn gratitude, learn to express gratitude, then it will just completely transform your life. So my humble suggestion to everyone who's here is pick one thing. Pick one thing that you can do, whatever it is, whatever is easy for you. and make it like rock bottom, lowest level, entry level point. Like just say thank you to one person every day, for example. That's your goal. I'll just make sure I thank at least one person every day, and I have on my habit sheet a tick box: thanked one person today. So obviously, naturally, many of us here will thank a million people each day. We're just in the habit of doing that. So our thing we could do would be something else, perhaps. But the point is to start small, make it an easily achievable goal, and just do it every day. And then you'll realize, oh, this is good. I should keep doing this. And then you'll start building on it, and you'll naturally just start doing it more and more. So, whatever it is, whatever way we want to give, and like I was saying, appreciation is an easy way to do it and recommended by both devotees and non devotees. Then just try to do that every day. And that one thing can start massively transforming our life. Because the mind tricks us by thinking, oh, this is too hard, there's too much to do, blah, 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 blah. So that's why we have the Maha Mantra, 3 words. It's so simple. So similarly, with our habits and how we transform our life, also make it just as simple. Thank you. It's even less words than the Maha Mantra. It's only 2 words. It's even easier. So just think about that as to how to transform your life. Just make it a super simple thing and just start and just do it daily. Make it the easiest, simplest thing ever and just make it a daily habit. And then just that simple thing, you'll see amazing transformations in your life. So thank you very much. I've already hit 8:03, so I'll stop there, see if there are any reflections, questions, comments from the assembled Vaishnavas. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for explaining that things so nicely and such an easy way to understand the basic concept of controlling the mind and the necessity steps to control it and to follow the dictation. So it's nicely mentioned, starting very nicely from the condition of the Avanti Brahmana and how they are suffering because of the mind activated by the false ego is the root cause of everything. When the mind is catalyzes with the false ego, it plays a havoc in our life. So to control the mind, you just nicely explained from 2 texts from our Shishtastakam is text 2 and 3, and all the problems are sorted immediately. So to control the mind, those 2 texts are very, very important for all of us to understand and meditate upon it to control the mind. And always remember to feel gratitude. Once you are once you offer gratitude to any of the activities you do in your life, everything will get settled. Then the false ego will comes to the closer to zero. So when the false ego goes down, automatically mind becomes satisfied, controlled, and intelligence controls the mind. When the intelligence controls the mind, you are under the dictation of good habits, which is pious and pious activities. When these pious activities build up, then your source of inspiration goes to the devotional service. And the next stage, you go to the goodness state. And from that goodness stage, you can be elevated to the higher taste. And how this process help us only by chanting regularly, feeling gratitude, whatever you're doing, then that's all the medicine for controlling the mind and false ego. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you for your reflections. It was very nice. Thank you. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the very nice class
Hare
and
Krishna.
and explaining the points and very nice. And as you have told, in fact, to controlling the mind, controlling the first step is to consider that mind and myself is different
Hmm.
because I am spirit soul, and so whatever mind is doing because of my bodily situation in the three modes of material nature, if I consider that way, then I remain in a controlled situation that whatever I am doing, I am judging in a situation. Otherwise, I think that whatever I am doing is my action. It's not. So we cannot control it. But if we consider the mind is different and I am different, in that way, I can judge whatever I am doing and take the corrective steps. And as our acharyas have told, the best way is to engage the mind for the service of the Lord. When you do that, gradually, I mean, all the unearths goes. And one of the important things we have told is to praise others, and that the root cause is another thing, because every one of us has got a false ego, and we think ourselves we have a desire to for fame, and that's why you try to undermine others. The reason is that we think that our position is threatened. That is the problem. And one of the, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, I think in one of his writings, the Bhakta Loko, he has told that this pratishta, I mean, for material um, material fame is the worst of all the anarthas, and it leads to, for everything, all the anarthas goes because of that pratishta reason. Because you think whenever we are not doing our behavior properly as a devotee, it means we have in our mind that conception that that I am very great and the others are small. That, but our acharyas told we have to reverse that one. I am in the lowest position, and let us learn from others. And in this way, we can purify us, as you have told. You have started to begin with just to respect others, and every day, and in this way, we can purify ourselves. So thank you very much. And the control of mind is very important for our devotional service, and is a friend and enemy at the same time. So we have to control it and make it a friend, because that is the only way for our progress in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. It's a nice quote from Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Pratishta.
Yes, Prabhu.
The root of all. Yes, thank you. I've just got a question.
So it appears, Prabhuji, I'm not sure if there are not other people.
I've got one live question here.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank
you very much. Could you please speak a little bit on why it's so difficult for us to offer our appreciation? It's like for some people more than others, we might have a particular relationship that it's a bit more natural and easy. But why for some people it's very hard and difficult, and that we might want to, but yeah, speak a little bit on why that is.
Okay, the question was, why is it more difficult sometimes to express appreciation or gratitude to some devotees? It seems like there's some kind of barrier there. Why might that be? Is that right?
Just why it's difficult.
Why is it difficult? Quite a few different thoughts come to mind. And I couldn't express everything because I just didn't have time. I did prepare quite a bit, and there was some things that connect to that came up. One of them is that if we don't feel like we've got enough, then we don't feel that we are able to give. That's definitely there. So one of the points I mentioned in preparing for this class in my notes here is that, yeah, you got to nourish yourself first. That's a fact. Health sadhana service. And health is quite a broad term as well. Like health means physical health. So that means exercise. That means fresh air. It means getting some sunshine. All these different factors to health. Eating the right foods, eating at the right time, getting enough sleep. This is all under health. Health's like a big topic. And then your relationships, and how they're all going. You could put that all under health as well, your mental health. So like health is a massive topic. So unless your health is good, then how do you move to sadhana? How do you do your sadhana nicely? And that's why there's chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you got to do this, 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 this. before you can like properly meditate. You know, you got to find the right spot. You got to sit in the right way. You know, you got to like remove all the distractions, not think of all these different things. So yeah, there's a big process. So yeah, we don't feel so it's so easy to give if we ourselves don't feel like we've gotten ourselves. So we obviously we need a good healthy program materially that's there. So health, and then sadhana. How's our sadhana? If we're not getting enough nourishment from our own sadhana, again, we won't feel like giving. If we're, squeezing out our rounds just before we go to bed, then yeah, maybe we're not so inspired in our bhakti. So we won't feel like inspiring others in their bhakti. So after we've actually properly dealt with our health, then have we properly dealt with our sadhana? Are we chanting at the best time in the morning where, wow, this is nectar. I like chanting Hare Krishna. We'll get a different experience if we chant in more favorable conditions. So then if we're properly situated in terms of our health, physical, mental, and our spiritual health is also good, then when it comes to the question of giving, it's easy. It's like, it's almost natural. It's like, as Vaisheshika Prabhu would talk about, it's the overflow. You're like, your cup's so full, it's just naturally spilling out. You want to give. So that's one angle on it. Of course, a lot can be said. The other thing is, as I was mentioning, is start small. The mind can trip out about things because it thinks too big. Like the biggest problem in life is that we listen to our mind. If we listen to the Maha Mantra and not our mind, there'll be no problems. But generally, when we chant Hare Krishna, we can't always listen to the Maha Mantra. We hear our mind, and so all the problems come. I'm speaking from practical experience, of course. So when it comes to thanking someone, it's just 2 words. It's less words than the Maha Mantra, so therefore it's easier. And if we don't feel comfortable directly speaking to someone, then we can send them a text message. So instead of looking for excuses to not appreciate or thank someone, look for excuses as to how you can still do it. So, I'm a shy person. Okay, I'll send a text message instead. I don't have a good relationship with that person. Okay, well, I'll send the thank you to someone else who I do have a good relationship with. The point is start somewhere. Find the lowest point where you can start, wherever that is. Thank yourself. Thank you for getting out of bed this morning, Gadai Gauranga. Whatever it is, but start somewhere. Start at the lowest possible point, the easiest point. And then once you achieve that, you'll be like, oh, wow, I did that. Then you can go to the next point. Oh, maybe I can thank the person I share a room with. And then you thank them. And that wasn't so hard. Then you can go to the next. So basically the point is, wherever you're having the issue, just find the point below that, which you can do. And if that's still too hard, again, just step it down again and find the easiest, shortest, simplest solution. And thank you is probably one of the easiest ones because it's just 2 words and you can send it in a message and you can send it to someone you like. There's no excuse. And then once you get confidence and you successfully achieve that, then you can build it up. And then eventually you'll be able to start saying thank you to non-devotees, people you really don't like, etc., etc. So start somewhere and gradually build up your muscles, and then it'll become easier. So pushing the time limit here now. So thank you everyone for attending. Appreciate your time and enthusiasm to hear and chant. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Janita Gaur Premanandi, Haribo, Vanchikopas, Trubhascha, Kripasindubiyevacha,
Puttanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava
Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai.
His Grace
His
Gadai
Gadai Gauranga Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki Jai.
Lord Premanandi, Hari
Hey.
Hari Bol. All grace to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.